I will say I don't regret a lot of things I do in life, but I regret drinking almost a whole gallon of apple cider that night because I did not feel good.
You could hear his stomach.
Yeah, it was gurgle. I was standing there talking to him, and all of a sudden, I gotta go.
It was hilarious.
It's like that's still a memory that keeps coming up every year, and it never gets old.
Have you drinking apple cider since then?
Well, yeah, but 1 cup at a time, not 1 gallon.
So we have Jake Gray, correct?
Hello? Yep.
And Michael Collins, but Michael, you go by Hammer.
Yes.
So would you explain where you got that nickname from?
I got that nickname back in the 80s from my service manager, Harold Dunbar.
Harold Dunbar. That sounds like a cool name.
Yeah, he run the shop, and they used to call me MC, and he started calling me Hammer, and it's carried on a long time. A lot of people think it's my real name.
Okay.
So
yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of like impressive that you got that even on your uniform.
They did it no problem. And the last shop I worked at was the same way.
Yeah. I was gonna make a joke and say like, if I can call you Hammer, can I call you Nail? But I don't know how close of friends you are.
We're pretty close.
Yeah,
so it'd be fitting.
Me and Jake hit it off pretty good.
Yeah.
He's one of the reasons I took the job here when I met him and stuff like that. So
you started working at Nussbaum first then?
Yeah, I started working in May of 2016.
May of 2016.
And then you started in August of 18, right?
All right. So how did you, Jake, originally hear about Nussbaum?
I actually was going through the ICC DPET program over at ICC, of course. And James Greer actually was working here in the shop at the time, and I had a job down the road at Cummins Crosspoint, it was at the time, and I didn't get to keep my job there because I guess the company was going through a hiring freeze. That's a whole long story, but
sure.
Right after I graduated college, I was looking for jobs everywhere, and I asked James, is there a spot open in the shop for me? And I sent him my resume, and I think I got a call from Jeremy, I want to say maybe 5 days later or something like that. And I got called in for an interview. I got hired within 2 weeks. I had a job out of college.
Wow.
And I was on day shift for a week. And then I was thrown on nights my second week here.
What?
Yep.
Did you want that?
I mean, I was given an option. It's like, yeah, you could get put on night shift or you can stay on day shift. But I was like, no, I'll just go to nights. And it's like everybody else coming in that's going to night shift is like, oh, we need to keep you on here for 6 months. I'm like, why? I learned better when I was thrown into the mix.
Yeah.
But
you're not on night shift anymore.
No, I was on night shift for a little over 4 years.
Okay.
And that's where I met Hammer because he got hired in 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got put on nights.
Okay. But did you know each other before he started at Nussbaum?
Nope.
No?
Not at all.
So you were out of college and you knew James, and that's kind of how you got here.
Yep.
And what about you, Hammer? How did you?
Well, I'll go back to Harold Dunbar again.
Okay.
He worked here. He was a service manager for years, and I was trying to get in the door here, and they just weren't hiring at the time. And when Troy Gee became the manager here, Troy knew me very well, and I had just called the right day, I guess, and they were looking, and I put my resume in and come in for an interview with Jeremy, and got offered the Sunday to Wednesday night shift.
Okay.
Which I wasn't crazy about. Didn't want to work nights. I've worked days my whole life, and I took it. and
Okay.
it was a great move.
Yeah. So what made you want to get in the door at Nussbaum? You said you were waiting for it.
Well, I know that the trucks are maintained well. It's a clean facility. It's a good place to work. And there's a lot of good people here. You
Yeah.
make good friends and have a lot of fun times.
Sure. Yeah.
You can tell by driving by on the interstate, it's a good place to be, a good place to work.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to challenge you guys. You ready for this? I'd like you to describe your job right now without using words.
Without using
Yes. You use your hands all day, right?
Hand signals?
No, not just thumb. Like, what do you do? Like, if it was me, I would be like, phone call.
Wrench it.
or struggling on something when it's really tight. Just
Does that happen a lot?
oh,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay. What else? It's a hands-on job. I know there's other things you could.
there's
Are you like under a hood? Are you?
Yeah, you could open hoods. There's a lot.
I mean, there's hitting stuff with a hammer or prying on something,
Running an impact,
just turn a screwdriver,
pry bar.
running a battery, like he said, battery impact,
Yeah. There's a lot.
There's a lot.
or
Drivers.
or here's one, smash your fingers all the time.
Oh no. Okay. So I would like you now to convince me why I should work in the shop instead of marketing.
Do you want to take this one? Or you want me to take this one?
Well, you prefer nights or days?
Oh. Well, you said at night, if you work at night, you can do like things in the morning, right?
You got your morning time, so you can sleep in.
Okay.
That's a big
I
plus.
don't like sleeping in.
You would if you worked nights.
Yes, you would.
You would enjoy that, not waking up to an alarm clock.
Yeah. Well, what's it like out in the shop? Like you get to use your hands, you get to move a lot. Do you get to talk to each other?
Oh yeah, we always are talking back and forth to each other.
Yeah.
And then, in the midst of passing between jobs, we'll ask each other, how was your night or how was your weekend, like on Monday, and you got any big plans for the weekend on around like Friday or so.
Yeah.
It's open out there,
Okay.
and you can have a conversation, or it's a good group of guys that work out there, and
Sure.
and it's great how we communicate with each other and how we get along, and we joke and have fun, and you don't see that a lot of places. You really don't. And here you see that.
Yeah.
You got a good group of guys, and everybody gets along, and we bring in food and share stuff, and
Yeah.
we do a good job out there.
Yeah.
I would say that we kind of treat each other like a little bit of family out there,
Sure.
I would say, because
Yeah.
like you said, bringing in food and talking to each other like we're either brothers or, sister, with Angelica being out there now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's being where you're at. You would sit on the phone or computer. Out here, you can get exercise and have some communication with people and deal with the drivers. And
And do you think it's really rewarding after you is it fix a truck or like repair?
Either or, I would
it's
say.
a challenge. Everyone you bring in here, and you have goals to get it done. And
Sure.
the waiters, I enjoy working on the waiters because it keeps you focused and it keeps you going.
When you say waiters, you mean like the drivers here and they're waiting for their truck?
Yes.
Okay.
So, they got a bedtime, and you got to try to stick to that as close as you can
Yeah.
to accomplishing it and getting it done so he can go to bed. And
Yeah. So do you get to meet the drivers then? Like the ones that when you're working on their truck?
if they come in the shop and we're out there, yes, because they'll come in, and if we have to check them in, because we don't have an office person right now to do that at nighttime, so us mechanics have to do that. We have to check them in, and we get a chance to talk to them, and if they have more problems to add to
Yeah.
what they already have, then we have to pull that out of them, and they have to explain to us what they need done.
Sure. Yeah. So you have any drivers just off the top of your head that I don't want to say you see frequently because that means maybe their truck needs a lot of repair, but
I mean, not always. I mean, usually it's just they're always to the terminal.
Oh, sure.
Right. Yeah. But just any driver that we've seen a lot of?
Yeah, just a familiar one.
Well, Clark Reed.
And
Okay.
Gus.
We see him a lot. And we see Gus. We see Mike Klein.
Yeah.
And then what's a few others that we see all the time?
Boy, Richard from Florida.
Oh, yeah.
He comes through quite a bit.
Who's got the cleanest truck you've seen?
I don't know if we should get into that one because then it's going to be a.
No, we won't say the dirty trucks, just a clean truck.
No. I know, but still, it's like because they'll be like, yeah, I got the cleanest truck out of all of you. Kind of thing.
I mean,
It's like
you see clean ones and you see ones that aren't clean.
Sure.
And you kind of know by the people that I've learned to know since I've been here, I know what their truck's going to look like when they pull in the shop. If
Yeah.
I have to do an inspection on it, I know what to expect out of them
Yeah.
because it's every time it's good.
Oh.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, I could probably give a list of a couple that are like
Really notable.
really notable, clean. Clark Reed, of course, and then there's also Mike Klein keeps his truck really clean. Johnny Atwell, he details it. I think every weekend he goes home.
Emilio,
Emilio is immaculate.
he is every time. It's very clean trucks.
Yeah. And what about your guys' work area? Is it as clean as their trucks?
Depends on the day.
Yeah, when James comes through and says the shop looks really good, and I disagree, I just okay. But
Like, yeah, just nod your head.
yeah, yesterday he
Like,
goes, the shop looks pretty good. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't think it looked all that great, but if you think it looks good, I do too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, our desks over here, in marketing, we end up stockpiling on some stuff. So it's more just like the organization piece, right?
Right.
So I did have some cool questions, comments, and stories from some people in the shop. So I'd love to share them. But warning, you might, I don't know, get embarrassed by a few.
We know their names.
We'll see.
It's like, do you have the list of people that sent them in?
We'll see. So, Jake, this is a question for you. Have you mastered your 3 points of contact?
Oh, boy. Yes, I
Do you
have.
have a feeling you know who said that one?
Oh, I have an idea. There's a lot of people that know that whole story.
Okay, so what's the story?
The story is that this was actually my first year here. Within my first year, I was on seconds, and what happened was I was doing a PM on a truck, and there was diesel fuel all over the floor, and I wasn't paying attention, and I was trying to rush because it was almost lunchtime, and I was trying to get this truck done and out by lunch, and I
Not
pulled,
because you were hungry. You were just trying to get it done.
Jake's always hungry.
but I pulled the truck out, and as I was getting out of the truck, the bottom of my boots were soaked in diesel, and when I hit the first step, I slipped, and I didn't have time to grab the steering wheel with my right hand, so the only thing I held on to was the door handle, which was the door handle that you open up, not the hard
Yeah.
one. So, and of course, what happened? Gravity won, and the handle broke,
Oh, no.
and I fell about 6 feet onto the concrete.
Oh.
And I got up and worked the rest of the night. I didn't get a concussion, which was good, but
Yeah.
the next day, Tony, being Tony, he showed me a video of a cat falling off of a ledge or something, and it stopped and landed on his feet. And then he printed me out a little certificate, and I still have it to this day, that says that I passed my how to fall like a cat or how to land like a cat video or something like that. It was funny.
So you landed on your feet or no?
I landed on my back.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's a really good one.
But yes, to whoever sent that one in, I did have mastered my 3 points of contact. It has not happened again.
So I also want to hear about the time that there was a can of sardines hidden. Does anyone remember that one?
Yeah, I don't think you were on night shift yet
I've heard about this, but I wasn't working nights when
when it happened.
that happened. But
Well, there's two different stories.
Okay.
The first story was with me. Somebody pranked me, and it was JP.
Yep.
He what he did was he got like a can of sardines from Schnucks or something and ate the fish out of it, and he left the tin full of the juice, and he hid it on top of my box. And it sat there for a few days, and I kept smelling around like, what does that smell? I couldn't figure it out. I was digging through my box trying to figure out if there was a dead mouse in it or something.
Does that happen normally?
It does.
Yeah, sometimes.
What? Yeah.
And it was just like, I couldn't figure it out, and I was getting irritated, and then I finally moved my stuff on top of my box. And I see this little metal tin, and I grab it, and I smell it, and I'm like, what? Sardines? And I'm like, oh, there's only one person in the shop that eats sardines, and I went and found JP, and I think I sprayed him with a water bottle or something. and then I got him back like 3 years later, but I hid it inside of his box, and it sat in there for like a week.
Oh.
And he's like, oh man, I think they put something on my box. I don't know what's going on. And I opened up his drawer and I lifted up this little box, and I'm like, it'd probably help if you took this out. And he's like, oh, you suck.
It took you 3 years to get back. That's kind of impressive. Long wait.
Well, I didn't want him. Well, I wanted him to kind of forget so that he wouldn't be like, Jake, what'd you do?
So, Hammer, this is a really interesting one. So your son is a lineman.
Yes.
I actually had to ask Ryan before you came in here. I was like, "What's a lineman?" But so your son has helped restore power after like major hurricanes or storms.
Yes, he has.
Okay. Has he always been a lineman, or
He this is his fourth year doing it.
Okay.
He went through a school in Trenton, Georgia,
Sure.
for 15 weeks to become a lineman. That's what he wanted to do. He was trying to follow in his grandpa's footsteps and do the kind of work he did.
Yeah.
And he's been all over the world doing this.
Wow.
And he finally, about 4 months ago, landed a job at ComEd here in Illinois now, finally. 'Cause he's been in Texas, Florida, he's North Carolina, he's been everywhere. And he's just getting going on this. And he's got to go back to school with this company for 3 more months, but after that, he'll be back on his own, in his own truck, going out helping people.
Oh, so he goes out during the storms.
Yes. They go on a storm watch, storm duty, and they're out in this weather fixing, restoring the power wherever the problem's at.
Yeah. Have you ever gone with him, or
No. I would have to be on the ground, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going that high in the sky.
Yeah.
Because he worked on transformers in Texas, and it was really dangerous. He was way up in the sky.
Yeah.
And now he's working basically on power poles and stuff like that.
Yeah. They can't wait till the storms pass. People are just that.
There are certain levels on where they can and can't. So I think if it's in high wind and rain, they can't. But like when they have to restore power for so many people, it's
They want to get started right away.
yeah. They work all night. I do know that because he has done that.
Yeah.
Late at night, up in the air, fixing stuff, putting back the stuff together after a storm's come through or something.
Yeah. So what does he do when there isn't storms? Just like normal basis.
Yeah, it's a company like Illinois Power. They basically, he's on a day shift now, and he goes around fixing power lines and poles and replacing telephone poles and stuff like that, power poles, and that's what he does during the day.
Okay.
Basically fixing anything that's broke or wore out or needs to be replaced is going to break.
Yeah. So has he ever seen like a tornado or hurricane up close?
He went to Florida and North Carolina following that hurricane last year.
Ooh.
And they had some bad weather, but never physically seen anything.
Okay.
The storm had they were kind of like behind the storm when they got sent out. And then a few months ago, he got sent to, I don't remember where he got sent to. But he had drove all the way home during the storm that week and got sent back. And they had to drive. I drove for 4 days to this. I don't remember where it was at.
Whew.
I'm trying to think, but it wasn't. They worked for 4 or 5 days, restore the power they had to restore, then drove back. But the putting their life on the line for stuff like that, and
Yeah.
that's why they get paid the extra extra money to do that, but
Yeah.
it's very risky.
Yeah. Wow. So, what else do you guys do outside of work? I heard, Jake, you really like pickles.
I make pickles is what I do. And I do like pickles a lot, but I do a lot of pickling. I make pickles. I make pickled jalapenos. I've pickled habaneros before. Like I made these really, really hot peppers for Michael Taylor out there.
Yeah. Have you ever just given them and been like, here, try this, and don't tell them it's a really hot pickled pepper?
No, nothing like that. He wanted me to make these because he tried all the other stuff that I've made before.
Okay.
And he gave me some jalapenos and habaneros out of his garden, and I found out he grew them next to each other, so they were equally as hot as a habanero. And when I made them, the brine that I made was so spicy, I didn't drink it, but I poured it down my sink, and my wife and I had to open up the windows in the house because it was so bad.
Oh.
It made our eyes water. But he said, oh, yeah, they're not that hot. And I'm like, what?
I thought you were going to say your sink started, like, deteriorating.
I wouldn't be surprised, really.
Yeah.
And then I barbecue stuff, and then I make my own barbecue sauce and rub and
Salsa and
salsa.
on and on and on.
Salsa, too?
Yes. He brought me some of that yesterday and some pickles in yesterday, and they were both very good.
Oh, was it like Merry Christmas or just...
Well, it was until I got the hot pepper out of that pickle jar that really was really hot, by the way. Wow.
Normally I give you a jalapeno. You're like, oh, come on, give me something hot.
Well, that one was hot, but it had all the seeds in it or something because I wasn't paying attention, and I ate it with a pickle, and wow, it was warm. It was very warm. But I like the heat, but that was a little hot.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's a lot of stuff. And then Hammer, you said you hunt.
Yes. I love to hunt. I grew up hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And,
just deer or what?
Well, I actually, me and my dad were big pheasant hunters, and then, I don't know, several years ago we started hunting deer, and I'm still hunting deer. Mm-hmm. And it's probably my favorite thing to do.
Your favoriteest thing?
I go out in a tree stand all by myself, and it's just my happy spot. That's where I hang out, and
what about the days? Do you ever go up there and you don't see any deer?
Oh, yeah. But I still enjoy my time sitting up there. It's peace and quiet, and I like to watch. You never know what you're going to see.
Yeah.
I mean, from a bird to a mouse to a squirrel, I mean, anything. I've seen turkeys, stuff
You
like
ever
that.
fall asleep up there
Well, yes, I have.
and fallen out of the tree?
No. I fell out of a tree once. Not on purpose. But, no, I really enjoy doing that. Yeah, it's my happy spot.
Okay. And you make deer jerky?
I make deer jerky. I make all kinds of stuff. Backstrap, summer sausage.
Oh.
Yeah. It's,
Wow.
Spend a lot of time doing that stuff.
Justin wanted me to ask because he wanted to know when he needs to take out a loan for. So do you charge like very big dollars? Or?
Well, everybody, I had Jerry in the shop asked me if I'd make him some, so I did.
Okay.
And then James asked me some to make him some, so I did. Then everybody started asking me, can you make me jerky, jerky? Well, I can get so much deer meat in a year, so then you got to start buying beef and doing it.
Okay.
I enjoy doing that for people. I like to hear the feedback and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot to do it, but I do enjoy doing it, and I definitely bring it in and share it with everybody in the shop. And hey, what do you think? And I always get a pretty good
And what was
score.
What was the one that you made recently? Was it the Sweet Vidalia?
Yeah,
Oh, man, that
barbecue.
stuff was so good.
Sweet Vidalia?
Yeah, it's made by
name come from?
Sweet Baby Ray's makes it.
Sweet onion.
Oh, okay.
It's a Sweet Vidalia onion.
Yeah, and I marinated it, then I brushed the barbecue on it, then I marinated or put it in dehydrator for 24 hours. And it's very good. It's got a real good taste to it. It's not hot, nothing like that.
Yeah.
But when my Cajun one I make is pretty hot.
Yeah.
It'll get your attention when you pop a piece in your mouth.
Yeah. And you kept giving me piece after piece, and I think I ate 6 in a row.
6 pieces.
And then finally I was just like, I can't do it.
Had to go get water.
Yeah, I think my dream is to be known by some sort of like food of like, Sage's cookies or like muffin, like some sort of, not deer jerky because, well, I don't hunt at this moment, but
Right. Well, deer's better for you than beef.
oh,
Yes.
okay. Yeah.
Remember that.
But you can't buy that at like a grocery
No.
store. Yeah.
You got to go out and get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to go do the time to get one.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, so this is a story or question from Jared Hahn.
Oh boy.
Am I saying that right, Hahn?
Yeah.
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 Okay. He said to ask Jake about the time that you worked second shift with him and you managed to get the work done as a team. Remember that? Maybe there's like a lot of done.
Well,
Work
we had
time.
a night where we had 4 wheel seals and we all grabbed one.
Oh,
If that's what he's referring to.
that we all worked as a team. I can remember several things that. Well, is that all it says? It's just,
He said along with a time crunch when the clock hit 11 p.m. and we made a mad dash to tackle one truck with 7 to 8 guys on one truck to keep the wheels rolling.
oh, I remember that night because that was the truck that. Remember, I was over in Bay 1 doing a Park Smart that was taking me forever because it was just whipping my butt. And then that one truck came in with a DOT and a oil change and stuff, and I think you and Jared found like I want to say like 30 sections
A lot.
or something on that truck, and
What do you mean 30 sections?
like there was 30 repairs needed.
Yeah.
but when it came
For every problem, there's
yeah,
one section.
because usually a truck will come in with say 5 jobs that need to be done, and one of them is a DOT inspection. If we do an inspection or even a midpoint, which is a grease inspection, we could find 5 things wrong, but on some trucks that don't get around our shop that often, we get upwards of 10, 20, sometimes 30. There was one truck, I think somebody broke the record recently, 45
What?
yeah.
repairs needed.
Older trucks, you see more repairs needed. Definitely.
But I remember on that truck, I think it needed brakes all around, like steer, both drive.
It did, and also needed 4 wheel seals because I remember you, even after you being done with the Parts Smart, you come over and jumped on the last wheel seal. So there was, we basically had this truck floating in the air, had all the wheels off of it.
And everybody was just at every
Yeah.
pinpoint was doing something to get that one truck done.
Because it had to go?
It had to
Yeah.
go, and we
I
had,
remember that night.
we had no time to waste on that thing. And I think I ended up knocking out my side of brakes and a wheel seal in like, 15 minutes?
It was fast.
I was just, because I was already hyped up and I was irritated, and I'm like, let's get this thing done. And I finally rushed through it and put everything back together. And yeah, I did put oil in it, I think.
I hope this wasn't the same day you found the sardines.
No. No. This was years later after that whole ordeal.
Wow. So do you run into situations like that a lot where everyone has to work as a team to get something done super
yeah.
quick?
Yeah,
or-
definitely. Almost every day we'll have 2 or 3 guys on a truck to get it done. You know, like once again, if the guy wants to be in bed at 10 o'clock and you have all this work to do on the truck, then you're going to obviously need more help to finish it to get him and try to get him to go to bed when he wants to. Sometimes we don't hit the goal. It's, hour, 2 hours later.
Yeah.
It depends on the truck and how much stuff needs repaired before it can go, if it's a DOT issue.
Yeah. So why aren't you guys drivers? Why are you a tech? Thought about that?
Well, I made my mind up a long time ago that I wanted to work on them and not drive them.
Okay.
I would miss my home time and the things I like to do.
Yeah.
And I guess if I was a driver, I wouldn't have what I have today as far as like,
Being able to wake up and go hunting.
yeah, I probably wouldn't have I wouldn't have my motorcycle and a house and stuff if I was an over-the-road truck driver. I don't know. I just feel that if you do that, your life's different than being a tech.
Yeah.
And I guess I made my decision based off of growing up. I always was out in the garage or out on a farm tinkering with something,
Sure.
whether it be small engines or tractors with my dad or a couple farmers he worked for. Then I ended up working for. I still kind of work for him, but
Oh.
on the side. But yeah, and I was going to be a truck driver for a while. I wanted to do it, but my old man drove a gravel truck, and I rode with him for like a week. And I'm like, But it may be different being over the road, but
Yeah.
in a gravel truck, those driving through quarries and everything, it beats you up, jumping all over.
Sure. Yeah.
But
Yeah. So you got to have a lot of, respect for them because
Oh, yeah,
they are
definitely.
making some sacrifice out there. So
When I was a kid, I wanted to do it, but once I grew up and started working on them, that come first, and
yeah.
I just never stopped working on them.
Yeah.
I've just been doing it for so long. That's all I know how to do.
Yeah. Has there ever been one where we like couldn't fix it, and then sometimes we have to send them to different places, right? Or we typically fix them all
yeah,
in-house?
normally if it's like oil leaks or something on our trucks, we have our truck centers techs. We got Derek and we got Dave on seconds now, and Derek's first shift. And then they also do warranty work that, we're not supposed to do, like Detroit warranty, which Detroit's the engine manufacturer.
Oh, sure.
And also the transmission.
Yeah.
But normally if it's something like, I think I found one, the guy was parked in a parking lot in, I think it was Missouri or Arkansas. And he woke up and he was underwater. The truck was underwater up to about 3/4 up the steer tire on the front tire of the truck. And he drove it from Missouri to here. And when I pulled the dipstick out, the oil was like chocolate milk colored. It's not supposed to be that. It's supposed to be black.
Okay.
And then I'm like, uh-oh. And I started looking at every hub. It was milky. Everything had water in it, from the engine to the transmission to all the hubs to all the differentials. And so at that point, we're like, that's an insurance claim. And we had this, and usually if there's an insurance claim, we send it to truck centers for them to fix it. Because then if they have to tear the motor apart for insurance reasons in case it needs to get either overhauled or replaced, then it'd be better if they did it than us.
Oof. Yeah, that's got to break the driver's heart,
And I think he got moved into a truck that was like maybe 2 unit numbers above the one he had. So I think he made it off pretty well.
Yep. Yeah. So this is a story from Dalton. He said 2 winters ago, Jake and I almost got frostbite trying to tow a truck in. I believe the temperature was 25 degrees wind chilled.
Oh man, that day. That was when
That's when Dalton was on the forklift.
yeah,
and you were in the truck.
and I was in the truck shivering. That was the polar vortex when it was like, it was -15, but with the wind chill, it was like -25 or 30.
It was bad out that day.
It was bad. And I remember I think I was wearing like 3 layers underneath my uniform, and then on top of that, I was constantly wearing my bibs, and I think you were too. And Dalton's like, well, we got a truck gelled up out there. And I said, okay, what do you want me to do about it?
So gelled up means
It won't start. So and I was just messing around with him. He's like, well, we need to go out and get it. Okay. So got suited up, full face mask, everything, went out there, and he drove the fork truck because he had a little bit more experience moving semis with a fork truck at that time, more than I did, but at that time. And and I was in the cab trying, and of course, when the engine can't run, there's no power steering, so you got to like hold on to the steering wheel and turn it either left or right, and you got to use
It's a workout.
It's a workout.
Oh, I should have done that when you were describing your job.
But and then we got the door open and we got it up there, and I think he got the steer axle over, but then he was having a hard time getting the fork truck in there, so we had to keep rocking it back and forth. I think we rocked it back and forth like 4 times and finally got it in. But yeah,
We shouldn't have been out there in the first place that night. It was brutal.
it was bad.
You were there too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Were you like, yes, I don't have to go out there?
Yeah, it's like
It was a bad night. I mean, Tony didn't want us outside that night, and but we had to get that one truck in, and it was. I felt bad for Dalton on that forklift because he was out in the wind and everything else, but we got the job done. Got it inside.
Yeah. Okay, so what about the time that Jake dared you, Hammer, to drink a whole gallon of apple cider?
no, that was the other
way around.
Oh.
I can tell you the story of this.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Well,
And I'll correct you if you say something wrong. 'Cause
let's just say that Nussbaum had bought us apple cider, and
It was like
pizza?
it was one of the food days. It was,
I think it was Monocle's Pizza.
well, we got Monocle's Pizza that night. The shop bought us Monocle's Pizza, but like a few weeks beforehand, Nussbaum had a food day, and they had apple cider as one of the drinks. And they, of course, we usually get the leftovers, and they brought over like 1 or 2 jugs of apple cider, and one jug was finished off like within the first week, and the other one sat up there for a few more weeks.
Probably like 2 months.
Oh,
We were up there one night, and I dared Jake to drink it.
oh,
We were making him a bet that he couldn't drink the whole gallon in
3
the
minutes.
whole gallon.
The whole
3
gallon
minutes.
in 3 minutes. The sad part was I probably could have done it if I didn't eat like half of a Monocle's Pizza beforehand, because man, I was just bloated.
I think he did it wrong. He dumped it in cups and drank it that way.
Yeah, that was.
I think I just
my
would have
first mistake.
tipped it up, poked a hole in the bottom of the jug, and did it that way. But
I got it 3/4 of the way down, and then they said, "No, time's up." I'm like, all right. And I will say I don't regret a lot of things I do in life, but I regret drinking almost a whole gallon of apple cider that night, because I did not feel good.
you could hear his stomach.
Yeah, it was gurgle. I was standing there talking to him, and all of a sudden, oh, I gotta go.
It was hilarious.
It's like that's still a memory that keeps coming up every year,
Yeah.
and it never gets old.
Have you drank apple cider since then?
Well, yeah, but 1 cup at a time, not 1 gallon.
Yeah, at first I thought it was apple cider vinegar, so
No.
it was very, very great.
Well, it probably was pretty vinegary there because it
At
had been
that
sitting
point.
so long.
Yeah.
It was like you could see where the bottom had all settled,
Yeah.
and I don't know.
And
I wouldn't have done it.
I know you wouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have done it.
So, if you guys were to create like a name for like your shop techs, I know you're familiar with nicknames with Hammer. What would your nickname like be if you had like a group name?
The group nickname?
Yeah, like what would you guys call yourselves?
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Tough one.
Yeah, we might have to get back with
We
you
have
on
to
that.
get
But
back.
we definitely could come up with something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
'cause
know
I
if
think-
Justin came up with like
I
the
know-
Road Warriors.
Yeah, the Roadside Warriors. or
Justin's
whatever it
good
was.
at coming
He's-
up with stuff. He's quick about.
I might have to ask him to make up a nickname for us and a logo.
Do you guys like your uniforms?
Yeah.
Yes.
You do.
Yes.
What I even requested it when we updated our uniform company was to get the American flags patched on here.
And they said yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
And-
they had no problem doing.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I love about our uniforms is that we got the American flag on it.
Wow. Good, because I'm the uniform person. I
Well,
don't
there's
do
a lot
those,
of
but-
people comment when you're either off work or coming to work, either way, before or after.
Yeah.
And they see stuff like that,
Yeah.
shopping at Casey's or whatever.
Yeah.
I've had people comment to me before when they see it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that your names are on there too.
Mhm.
I really appreciate when you can see that.
'Cause I know there's a lot of shops nowadays that it's like company policy now to get rid of the name tags, and it's like why?
Oh.
It's like even like we're not a for hire shop, we're fleet shop, but still, it's nice when new drivers that come in, if they don't know our name by heart, then they can just look at our shirt.
Yeah.
But it takes time for that to happen. But I know that when I started here, it took me a long time to recognize people's faces and stuff. But I know now that a lot of the drivers know my name.
Yeah.
They can come in and see me not look at my name tag, but I might not know their name. I might know the truck they drive.
Yeah.
But I don't have all the names down yet, but
Do you meet drivers that ever like name their truck?
the only person I could think that names their truck that I know of is Sam.
Sam Schuhoven?
1326, is that Sam from the bus garage?
It might be.
Sam Moravec?
Yes.
Okay, and what did he name his?
Oh boy. Gosh darn it. I can't think of it.
We'll have to find out.
I can't remember if it was Red Baron or Big Red or something like that. Because he drove a bus when I worked there, and he always named his buses.
Oh, okay.
He always had a Big Yellow, or he always had a name for his buses. And Little Boy Blue, and he had it. I mean, he always picked out whatever he drove. He had a name for it.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys name your cars or your motorcycle?
Do not.
My wife names my vehicles. Like my pickup, she just calls Big Red just because it's a big red truck, and that's about it. And my mom, I think, named my little Toyota that you absolutely love so much. It's a little '99 Corolla that's beat to heck. I'm surprised it's not gone or in the junkyard yet. I think I'm just trying to run it in the dirt, see how far it can go. But
well,
I forget what she named it.
I can tell you a story about that little red car that he drives.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it was back when the Dalton and us were bringing that truck in that night. It was very cold out, and it was probably 7:30, and we hadn't ate supper yet. And Jake asked me, he goes, "You want to run down to McDonald's and get something to eat?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go get something to eat." So he fires this little red car up and pulls it up to the shop to pick me up. And I'm a lot older than Jake is, and I'm a little bit smarter than Jake is. And we get in the car, and it's very cold outside, and we get going down the road, and I just happen to look over at his fuel gauge, and it's like past E.
Oh, no.
And our friendship was almost over right there. Because I was like, "Jake, if I was your dad and I got in your car and that fuel gauge," I was like, "We're not going to make it to McDonald's."
Did you make it?
Oh,
we
made
did.
it.
We pulled up to the pump and it was still running. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, "Oh boy."
Yeah, he talked to me like he was my dad.
I was scolding him that night. Like, you don't do that, especially when it's this cold outside. You get stuck in a ditch or something.
I was running late that day, and I just didn't have time to stop by the gas station. But I know that shouldn't be an excuse.
Yeah.
No.
But I haven't done it yet, Dad.
Yeah, it's something you don't do.
That's exciting. No, well, not excited. I'm excited that you made it.
Yeah, me too, because I didn't want to walk that night. Especially when I got in the car thinking it was going to have plenty of gas and nice heat, and I get in there and, just with my light work coat on and no gloves, no hat, and it's like, oh boy, are we going to make it?
I think I filled up at the gas station up there in McDonald's, and then I came inside to order something, and he's like, "You fill that thing up?" I'm like, "Yes." I filled it up.
Aw. Well, do you guys have any shout outs you want to give to the shop? Anyone that means a lot to you? Maybe they'll be listening and you can say something.
I'm waiting on you.
I mean, like, to the whole shop?
Just floor's yours. You got the microphone. If you want to say, like you really appreciate James and Tony and Dalton, maybe you don't like Justin much. I don't know.
No, there's a great group of guys that work out there, and I've learned to respect James and Dalton a lot. I don't really work with Tony a lot. I mean, if Tony has something to say, he comes and says it, and that's about it,
Yeah.
I don't like to bother Tony on his time off. But like I've told Dalton 100 times, he has a lot on his plate, and I respect everything he does, and I think he does a real good job at what he does. And the same goes for James.
Yeah.
And I know Tony's got a full plate too.
Yeah.
And I will say, for the younger kids that are working here, we got a good group of guys.
Yeah.
We really do.
Yeah.
And I know it's building and building and building, and we'll keep getting the work done and going strong.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And like he said, I mean, I have a lot of respect for the management team that we have out there: James, Tony, Dalton, and then also Billy Joe being the head service writer, and then also Justin being quote unquote the head maintenance coordinator, which they all do their jobs amazing, which in turn makes everybody else do their job amazing, because you always try to reflect off of your leaders.
Yeah.
And I can tell that when I come into work every day, I'm happy to be here and working with everybody, because it's like I know that they're we see them as our bosses, but then also we can still talk to them like
Yeah, definitely.
like they're a friend or a family member. or
It's not
something.
like I don't really look at them like they're my bosses. They were kind of like
Well, they're
we were-
like servant leaders, right?
they were with us on our shift, at one time, and we were all like together, and we're friends,
Yeah.
and we all get along great together, and that's the important part.
And then at some point, we've had to come together as a team, and whether it be office working with the shop or shop and shop techs, first shift and second shift coming together to work to get something done.
Yeah.
Yeah, in good times and bad times, we've done that, and I'm referring to, we've had to go to a couple visitations and stuff as a group in the shop, and and we all come together for stuff like that when it's needed, and it's like a good group of guys.
Good.
Really is.
And a few girls.
And yes, we're learning that now, and
Well, that's really great. I actually had my mom and my brother visit Nussbaum the other week, and there wasn't anybody in the office because it was a Saturday, but I took them into the shop, and I was just so thankful. David Boomgarden showed them a truck and was just so polite and kind, and I mean, it was a Saturday, he was working, but he took time off, and I was just so honored just to show him around, and it's just a safe environment. There's no like yelling at each other or anything like that. It was some nice music in the background too, and I was just like, yeah, this is where I work. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys.
Just to get each other's attention, that's when we yell at each other.
Okay. Or if you accidentally found the sardines and
Yeah. Then there's that one.
or you get your face burn off or something like that.
Oh yeah, that story.
oof. Yeah. Well, did you guys have anything else that you'd like to add or say, or
Just about the shop, or
just in general? Maybe like words of wisdom, something you.
always use 3 points of contact.
Okay.
I would say to the outside people, and I know they're still hiring techs,
Yeah.
if you ever want a chance to get into Nussbaum, you probably better do it. You probably better go for it, because they have a few openings left, and you might be stuck on nights forever if you don't ever get in the door and get a chance to rotate and move down to day shift. Eventually there's probably going to be a permanent night shift where you're not going to get a chance to go to days.
Sure.
With us growing and stuff until somebody would retire down the road, which would move a guy at a time or something like that. But it's an opportunity out there where if somebody's thinking that they should do it,
You should give it a shot, huh?
yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much.
You're
And we'll see you.
All right.
Hey.
You've been listening to Terminal Exchange, the official podcast show of Nussbaum Transportation. Nussbaum is an industry leader in over-the-road freight transportation. For more information on Nussbaum's award-winning truckload services and top-paying driving careers, go to nussbaum.com or nussbaumjobs.com. Thanks for listening to this episode of Terminal Exchange. New episodes arrive every Tuesday, so be sure to subscribe to our show wherever you listen to podcasts and share a little love by writing us a review. Then, go deeper into each exchange or listen to previous episodes at our podcast page, terminalexchange.org.